Today I want to talk a little bit about my journey. I probably should have done this video first, but I'm the type of person that that does things when it just feels right. And maybe at this time I felt like, okay, I've gotten into this a little bit. Let me introduce myself. So my name is Gino Cardona. Um, Basically just going down this path that um to awaken my basically myself. um it started, I'll first start with like one of my first experiences. And that was when I grew up in Puerto Rico. I came here at the age of 9 or so. But um when I was in Puerto Rico, one of the things that happened was uh I was about 5 6 years old. And one of my earliest memories, I remember waking up in the middle of the night and hearing something that wasn't of this world. Don't quite know what it was, but I just know it was trying to communicate with me, whatever it was. Um, and I would wake up at night around the same time every night. Obviously, at that point, I didn't know time, so I just knew I was waking up in the middle of the night. It was almost like the breaking of dawn, and every single night, and I would hear this. It almost sounded like a radio talking in the background, and I never thought that I was. I always thought like maybe I remember thinking like maybe I'm going crazy, but it was too real. So I remember waking up my mother at that time to see if she could hear it, because I kept explaining to her what kept happening, and she couldn't hear it. So it always left me with that weirdness that I would wake up in the middle of the night. Even as a young adult, I used to wake up in the middle of the night and be kind of like afraid to see if I hear that again. I heard it I say in my teenage years, I heard it a couple of more times, but it wasn't as scary. I just felt like I was really out of it, and I could just hear this radio station almost going on in the background. But I knew nobody else could hear it at that point. Um, that was one of the major things that I remember as a kid. Then I also remember an experience around the age of like 14. I remember waking up one. I took a nap in the middle of the afternoon, and I remember waking up and feeling. At the time, I was brought up Catholic, so the best way I could describe it at that point was um, this that I felt like Jesus was next to me at that point. Like I could feel the presence. I could feel his presence. And um it was the weirdest day. Like I really felt like I could do whatever I wanted. Like I really felt like I could jump out the window, drop to the ground, and nothing would happen to me. Obviously, I didn't try it, but that's how I felt. I literally felt invincible for those. It was like 24 hours, and then it was really weird because then when it ended, it felt like, wait, I can't get that back. Like I wanted it. I wanted that back. Um, but I never felt that again. Now I understand that that was my first running with the infinite, with the self. And that's what it really was. It was that presence of myself, feeling, as crazy as it sounds, as myself feeling myself almost. Um, then there was another time I felt the infinite. When I first started going down this path, um, basically, it was when I started realizing really that I was going down this path was shortly after my second. I have 3 children. My second one was born. There was something that ignited in me that when I looked into her eyes, it told me, you need to get wisdom, you need to get knowledge, like you need to understand this reality a little better so you could give to your children um an understanding of what this reality is. And at that point I felt like I had none of that knowledge. And again, I don't know what made me think of this, but that's how I felt when she was born, that I had to learn more. I had to be more of a role model. but in a different kind of way, not the role model that we all think of, but more of basically a teacher, a mentor to show my children which way to go. Um, oh, not even that, not even show them which way to go, but just show them that there's options. You don't have to do things the way that I do them. I just want you to know why I do things the way that I do, and then you could choose your own path. You don't have to follow mine. And to me, as long as you're happy, that's okay. But I'm kind of like getting off subject here. Um, so then when I started going down that path, something told me to research yoga and meditation. And I think a lot of it had to do with me having anger issues. So I started researching yoga and meditation, and I started seeing things that it was really good for anger. And I got into it, and I fell in love with it because of the feeling that I felt after, the peace that I've always felt. I've always looked at those. Even as a kid, I always remember seeing like monks, um, Buddhist monks, and I just saw that peace, and that's what I always saw in the Buddha, was the peace that came to his face. When you see a picture of the Buddha, I don't know if everybody feels this way, but I do. That when I see that peace, when I see him with his eyes closed like this, I just want that peace. And meditation and yoga has brought me closer to that peace. I'm not quite there, but it has offered me a peace that I couldn't even imagine having. Um, but anyhow, when I started going down this path, because of the fact that I was brought up Catholic, I kept questioning myself in a lot of these these things I was doing. I even started meeting with Jehovah Witnesses, and I started learning the Bible from their perspective. And even though I didn't agree with any of it, it was just nice to just to hear what their perspective is on the Bible and on God and all of that. And at that time in my life, I needed that. This was like 4 or 5 years ago. And at the same time, I was studying on my own, and I just wanted to know. I wanted to be validated, I guess, at that point, and make sure that I was doing the right thing. So I asked, like I said, I was brought up Catholic. So at that point, I asked God. I said, "Hey, can you come to me in a dream, or come to me in some sort of vision, or sound, and let me know if I'm doing the right thing? Am I going down the right path, or is this gonna lead me into somewhere bad?" And literally the night that I said that, I had another run-in with the infinite, and that's what I call it now, the infinite spirit. Um, and I remember, I won't go into the whole dream, but I just remember looking at this light, and it was just like the most brightest light I could ever imagine. It was like looking at the sun, basically. It was blinding. So I couldn't even look at the time, like I said, I thought of God, but it was, to me now, is the infinite spirit letting me know. And it said, yes, you are going down the right path. Keep following the path that you're going. And I started, in that moment, when I had that dream, in the dream, I just started bawling. Like, it was a watershed moment. And then I woke up, and I literally had to get out of the room because my kids were in the room. So I had to get out of the room and go in the living room, and I really fell on the ground, and I could not stop crying. Like, it was an amazing experience. It was like I could feel the infinite spirit there again, like I did when I was a teenager. And then there was another time I was meditating, and again I felt that infinite spirit, the love, and all of that, and it made me just want to keep going, like knowing more. And I started reading books. I always joke around, so I was eating books at that point, because I was reading like books 300 pages long in like 2-3 weeks, and trying to learn more of this knowledge. And I again, like at that point when that meditation, I felt that again, and it was just like, man, I just want to keep going. Um, and then after that, I had another little baby, and they, I'm telling you, these children, um, they're a blessing, but also they're the best teachers. They taught me more about life than my own experiences, because having to deal with them, you have to reach into certain levels and certain you got to have compassion, but you got to be tough, and sometimes um you want to just teach them like it's gonna be okay, but yet to them, the world to them at that point is so small that the smallest things changes them or changes their whole view, or they think it's, they break something, one of their toys, and they think their world is ending. And you want to tell them like, hey man, there's so much more out there, like this is gonna pass. You have a little cut and they start crying, and you're like, so it's like it makes you look at your depths of a person that you would never know before that. It makes you grow as a person. It makes you want to be a better person. Um, and I think that's one of the things that drew me into Buddhism. And I always say that um, the difference in my eyes, a Christian is gonna be nice to you because they fear that they're gonna go to hell if they're not nice to people. A Buddhist does it because they want to be nice, and that's how I feel. I feel like I just want to do things for other people, or for my children because I want to do them, or my wife is because I want to do them, not because I feel like if I'm not a nice person, I'm a burn in hell. No, I just want to be a nice person because I want to be a nice person. I choose to be that. Um, we all have decisions to make. But basically, that's the path that drew me to being where I am today. And there was a couple of times I questioned. There's been like 4 years I've been wanting to do this and talk in front of a YouTube platform. And I'm a very humble type of person, so I really didn't want to do it. But like something just kept telling me that I had to do this. Um, Even if I touch one person doing this, that's all it really matters. Um, because I feel it deep in my heart, feel it deep in my bones, in my psyche. I feel like this is the the time that I need to be talking about this, so um, we could all get connected. And there's other people talking about these things. There's a lot of other people. Um, I try to keep it as simple as I possibly can. Sometimes I know I'm gonna go down that rabbit hole, but I'm trying to build it up slowly. So once I get there, whoever's following with me or listening to me could follow along and not totally be lost. So, um, but again, I'm still just a beginner, just like everybody else. I'm just trying to get through life and understand our reality as it is. But I just want to explain a little bit of my path. That's how I got here. That's how I started doing all of this, and it just led me one thing to the other. And I feel like again, the Buddha was the one that opened the door for me. And from that point on, um, another one of my teachers is the great, super great philosopher Alan Watts. Man, I can't say enough about how much I've learned from that guy. Even though he passed on, like I've learned so much. I mean, like I couldn't even imagine understanding what I understand today without that man. So I hope this makes you understand a little bit better where I come from and why I do the things that I do. And that's it for now. Namaste.